This is Sunil Shetty.
Everyone, hello everyone behind. I'm going to say something and everyone has to clap and believe in it truly. Namma Karnataka da Namma Huduga.
Nano Sunil Shetty.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause to Sunil Shetty, who's come to the Bangalore Tech Summit to talk to us.
Thank you, and do support me because I'm nervous out here with all the unicorns, 10x, 5x, 25x is there. I'm really nervous, and you know, after Sujit, Nikhil and all have spoken, I'm even more nervous than before. Shradha, that's not fair.
Sunil, one thing all of us, everyone in this room will agree to and will vouch for, that one man who has continued to be relevant for the last 30 years and who made us dance to hi hooky, hi hookah, hi hookah, hi, to today when we say that this here is a fit man, here is a strong man, here is an Indian man whom we all can look up to and see it is you. Today I want to ask on behalf of all of us, you know, हम जैसे progress होते हैं, we all start becoming very, we start getting very nervous about becoming irrelevant or becoming unfit or feeling like a failure. And most of us, at some point or the other, go through a self-worth question. I want to ask you, because you are someone we all can look up to, how have you managed to be relevant? How have you managed to be fit? And how have you managed to become such an icon for the youngest people here in our country?
Well, thank you so very much for that. But you know, I think the only thing I've survived all these years is purely because of my upbringing and my background. I was born in this small little town called Mulki, Mangalore. You know, that has been a part of Durga Ma's most powerful temple, the Bapanath temple. Anybody who went out from there has been blessed, and I'm one of them. Humble beginnings, struggle. My father, my hero, a boy who from Mangalore, came to Mumbai at the age of 9, cleansed tables to make a living, had to take 4 rounds of a table to completely clean the table. The rice gunny bag was his bed sheet as well as his bedding. These are the stories that I grew up listening to, and he was my ultimate hero. The very restaurants that he worked in, he ended up owning these restaurants. And I believe that was the journey that I wanted to follow. But God was kind. He gave me, you know, the limelight in the form of movies. He gave me my first break. Someone who hadn't ever gone to an acting school was suddenly a part of a big film. The film was a big hit. But the critics called me wooden. They said I should go back to the restaurants. I should go back to making idli and dosas. And that hurt. That really hurt. When I stepped back and believed that, you know, I need to get back at this guy, I analyzed that, you know, I hadn't mastered my craft. I hadn't studied, the art of acting. And God had given me the opportunity. So should I be thankful or should I be spiteful? That's when it dawned upon me that, you know what, let me learn my craft and be thankful for what I've got. And that's the time I realized that this was my goal and this is where I've already reached without even doing anything. So I think being thankful for what I got is what got me through the worst periods in my life, whether it was failure. And especially when you fail in the film industry, the world is watching you, the media is watching you. They want to harp on the fact that your last film didn't do well, or that you're not doing well, because that is what sells. You know, the good side of Sunil Shetty doesn't sell. Whether you're involved with CSR or you're doing good for someone, that doesn't work. But if Sunil Shetty gets into a controversy, it works brilliantly for TRPs. So it hurt. I think that's the time. That's when I realized that, you know, God's been kind. Let's be thankful for everything. And I went about my journey with that. And that got me through everything. I was an avid sportsman. The only thing I ever wanted to do was play for my country, which I couldn't do. But then God said, you've got to entertain the country. And that kind of balanced me, helped me in a great mental space. And I guess that's why I'm content, I'm happy with you know, where I am.
Sunil, I want to ask you, and I'm going to take an analogy because here we are in Bangalore, and you know, a lot of very amazing entrepreneurs, unicorns, funding, startups, and I want to draw a parallel that there's always this sense of judgment which comes when you're able to raise a big round, big valuation. But again, the same entrepreneurs and same people are very much questioned if they're not able to. And and of course, then there are the other set of entrepreneurs who are not able to raise funding, and they consider that, oh, you've not been able to make success or whatever you're doing. So there's a lot of judgment that goes on, very not obviously called, but as entrepreneurs, we are constantly being measured, constantly being evaluated, and everyone has a point of view. Now I'll come to you. You've lived in an industry which I feel from outside extremely competitive, looks very insecure, but somewhere you stand out because you stood as an original. And there were a lot of judgments that came to you. In fact, like you said, wooden, can't dance. There was always this thing of writing you off. But here you are standing with a massive following on social media, and you've gone viral on LinkedIn and everything. How have you been able to maintain your inner sense of equanimity, inner sense of purpose, and inner sense of direction, especially when everyone is like looking at you with judgment?
See, I think honesty. I've been very, very, very honest with my profession. I love what I do. I thank God every day for giving me that opportunity. And I've learned to step back. I've learned to listen. I've learned to learn. Because if I don't listen, then there are things that I believe that I know. You know, and if I'm not listening, then I'm not improving upon those things. So I've learned to listen. Like I said, I'm very, very content. Yes, I know what my destination is, but at the same time, I need to make sure that I clear that path toward that destination. I see that destination clear. I need to work towards it. You know, I excelled in action. So when they wrote me off at Wooden, when I went back home and said, you know what? Yes, I'm not a very good actor. So what he said wasn't wrong. So why that spite? Let me improve upon something. So what I did in turn was that if I don't start acting, I'll be thrown out very soon. So how do I grab more work and good work? I said every actor to survive needs an image. And the only image that suited me was an action hero, because I was a trained martial artist. I had a phenomenal body. I worked more on that body. I did death-defying stunts. So when the audience saw me, they said, this guy is crazy. You know, my parents didn't know what I was doing. My wife didn't know that I was doing death-defying stunts every second day. But then everybody said, ye ladka pagal hai yaar. And they aspired to be and do action like you do. And the minute kids believe that we want to aspire to be like a particular person, you have an audience of your own. And during that time, I slowly learned the craft of acting. I started focusing on my diction. I came from a South Indian family. We didn't speak Hindi at home. So I started working on my diction. I improved my dancing. You dance to high huku, but I couldn't dance to high huku. You know, I believed I was horrible in that song because I was a very bad dancer, probably the only actor with 2 left feet. But Sunil Shetty had the best music because I had the sense for music. You know, but I didn't have the rhythm. I had the rhythm to do action with 10 people without blinking an eyelid. I never rehearsed when I did action. But when it came to music and beat, my heartbeat was rather faster than the beat of the music. So I always skipped the beat. You know, so it's about being comfortable and accepting your faults. And it's like in the startup world, everybody knows their destination, but do they know their path? It's very easy to raise money, but it's very difficult to make money. So for a young entrepreneur, he has to believe that he has to make money to rise in life. You know, that's why MSME, small scale, large, medium scale industries is the method that you have to follow. You have to follow what your forefathers and your fathers taught you about cash being king and working towards that. And you won't see, you will probably live up to your own expectations. And forget the world, they keep talking, that's what they need to do. They need to look in, and especially in the world of social media, you know, with Twitter being as bitter it is, and a platform out without any you know, a social handle that doesn't even carry their own name. So I think we have to learn to be content, learn to sit back and see where we need to improve, and things take care of itself.
You know, everyone, I don't know if I can say for everyone, but one has to, now that you're sitting next to me, I have to ask you this question. Most of us in this room will have an excuse to, we all are very hardworking people. We are all trying to chase things and make things happen, but most of us are not very fit people. At 62, and ladies and gentlemen, I think he deserves a big round of applause at 62.
Thank you.
I think you're redefining, you know, we say, oh, we are a young country, and ageism. जैसे होता है पहले Jitendra used to come in and add, you remember 30 plus, and used to think, oh, 30 plus is too much, and then 40 plus, and वो तो चलो uncle auntie हो गया, वो गायब हो गया. Today, you know, if it is cool, it is sexy, it is mainstream, it is a way of life. I think for India, you're showing the way. Tell me, how do you make that happen, and why don't you have any excuse?
Because I'm not busy, I'm productive. I time manage beautifully. For me, getting up in the morning and finishing my workout means a very productive day. Time with mom for coffee or tea. Time with mom for dinner. Time with Atya, Han, Mana in the evening, feeling energetic, feeling like I really need to spend time with them, quality time with them. Very clear that I don't work Sundays. Very clear that if I can get off on a half day, on a Saturday, I get a half day. Then I can spend time with the farm, at the farm, farming and doing things that I love. So I think it's about time management and man management. You know, we all believe we are busy, but if we take our time, that is that me time that we need to become extra productive, thereby helping people we work for, we work with, and probably people who work with us.
You know, I'm just going to tell everyone that let's show him that Bangalore can clap and appreciate. Let's bring some energy. He's come all the way to talk to all of us, and he's giving it generously, talking to us very openly. Thank you, Sunil. You know, you hear, all of us are movie watchers, all of us are mostly OTT and all those watchers. I want to ask you, and now that you're here, in terms of the future of cinema, and the future of cinema halls and audiences, because right now, at least if I draw the parallel from the startup world, it's a tough time. You know, we're having conversations about funding winter in startup world, and of course it's cyclical, but people are told that, you know, you really need to think the way you're building business, running business, preserve cash, and a lot of expert advices are being given out. I want to understand when it comes to film industry, there's so much of conversation post-pandemic that we are listening to that it is a tough time and cinema will not survive as it has. Being one of the builders, being one of the top faces of Indian film industry, what would you say?
You know, I think the startup world has taught us that every pain point is an opportunity and every downturn is also an opportunity. So I see this as an opportunity to get back to the drawing table and start rethinking our strategy when it comes from the media, from a media business perspective, and especially cinema. When we talk about cinema, for all of you guys here, all entrepreneurs, all very, very successful businessmen, I think your product matters a hell of a lot. Likewise, our content needs to matter a hell of a lot. We are producing content that we want to deliver to the world, but the market is India. And we are not delivering in India the kind of product that they're looking for. You know, so when the content is not right, the entire chain will suffer, right to the distributor, the consumer who feels cheated. You know, when you have 100 crores being put into a film, 80 crores is the cost of talent, 20 crores is the cost of P&A, content and everything. How do you believe that the math will work? It just doesn't work, because 2 and 2 always adds up to 4. It cannot be 8 or 6 or 10 or any other number. So I think we need to start focusing on our content. We need to tell India stories. They're beautiful stories to be told. The world wants to, you know, probably absorb and take in everything that India has to tell. The India travel story has begun. The India food story has begun. You know, Ayurveda is working. Yoga, as we call it, yoga is how the Western world gave it to us, but yoga is out there now. Preventive wellness is bigger than bodybuilding and health. So I think if the content, we're not giving good content. I mean, I failed. I had to sit at home for 5-6 years because I have an audience. I know people love me. When I go into the interiors, they absolutely love you. They love you because they are your well-wishers. They love you because they are your fans. But are they your audience? No, my tickets don't sell. Why? Because I made mistakes, probably blunders. So I've gone back to the table and I'm working on it. And suddenly I think I see things looking up. And when things start looking up, I feel more energetic, you know. But I didn't want to lose the connect with the audience, and I knew that there was a secret that I had understood. Not a secret, I had understood the simple math of good living and healthy living, and that was the knowledge I was trying to impart. And suddenly I have 18-year-olds who come up and say, you know, uncle respect, sir respect. That kept me connected, and now I've got another opportunity which I'm not going to let go. So I think for all of us, it's the same. I mean, blessed you are, because you're not as much as in the limelight as we are. You know, somebody is trying to take you down all the time, whether it's on Twitter. If my children get a break, it's called nepotism. If they don't do well, you know, they say they are not worthy of who they are. So they are in a catch-22 situation. But still, I'm in a fantastic mental space because I'm happy and content.
You know, Sunil, I have to say, and on behalf of everyone who's listening, there's a lot to take. But what I'm also taking is that a man who plays long innings and a man who continues to inspire is also a very self-aware man. Because any change, any inner work only happens when one is self-aware and one is constantly listening and taking and absorbing and not being full of themselves. And I think all of us can pick this trait, that we continue to put our ears on the ground, listen and work. And that's what you do, and that's what you're teaching all of us.
I guess it's about being rooted in where you come from.
Yeah.
You know, when I go back home, dad is no more. You know, dad in his little lungi and a little shirt, and mom not even aware who this guy is. For them, it's their son, actor, doesn't matter. And that's why I've grown up. I mean, even today, all through these 30 years of my career, you know, sometimes you're fast asleep in your car and then you wake up and people are looking at you. And I wonder, what's wrong with me? What wrong have I done? and not realizing that, oh, I'm an actor, that's why they're looking at me, you know. And I want that to stay. I want that simplicity to stay. And that's what I keep telling my children, you know, stay grounded. Nothing else matters, because everything is temporary. You know, make the most of it. You're blessed. Just fingers crossed, move on.
Thank you. You know, with this, I will also invite someone who I have deep respect for. We've been listening to this word unicorns last 2 years a lot. But if India produced the first unicorn India had, and someone who holds the title, if I may say so, of building 2 unicorns, and from Bengaluru, the first unicorn of our country, and now the second also, Naveen Tiwari from InMobi and Glance. Naveen, can you please come on stage? And while he's walking, I would say one of the things very admirable about Naveen is that, you know, last 1 year, 2 year, it became very fancy to say that unicorn, ye 6 mahine mein banta hai. This one becomes in 2 months. But Naveen also, to me, shows what resilient entrepreneurs are.
I got a hug from Naveen, so maybe the luck will rub off here. Huh, Naveen?
Naveen, if you had to very quickly share with everyone here today, you know, we were discussing and you were saying that what can you give something honestly that everyone takes home, takes with them, then what would you like to tell every entrepreneur, everyone who's sitting and listening to you?
Can I just first start by saying this is a fanboy moment? Like, it is so cool to be sitting next to Sunil Shetty here. He's iconic, guys. Come on, give him a big round of applause. You know, long time back in college, I would argue we would have these cultural fests, and we would try to copy your steps. And we were pathetic. And a lot of these guys are sitting here. They're all college people, and none of them know how to dance, but they all dance. And we do a bad job at it. But so therefore, it's a huge privilege to be with you here. Shradha, what was your question?
If you
I was just starstruck, guys. Come on. Go ahead.
Yeah, Naveen, if you had to say something, you know, saransh mein, crystallize karke, something honestly real, authentic that you can share with all of us from your journey that we could reflect and maybe consider following in our own journeys.
Yeah, look, I think I would say a few things. I think one, life is short. And, you know, you can either go for, you know, small goals or, you know, small aims, or you can go for the big ones. The effort is going to be very similar. The effort doesn't necessarily change. So if you are taking a risk, you might as well go for something huge and big, so that if there is success that comes your way, then, you know, you have something, you've created something huge. So that's one. I think second, success does not necessarily come if you have to follow what everybody else is saying. And so it is quite hard, especially when there are so many people around you giving you advice on how to take the advice but still do what you think is right, and staying true to that, especially in moments when things are not going right, and not, you know, things go up and down and things are not going right, you still try and do that. That's even harder. And I think companies that succeed, people that succeed, are not necessarily trying to follow what everybody else has done, but are staying true to their own vision, to their own thought process in the toughest of times. And I think those people really make it. So those are the few things I would certainly put out there.
You know, I'm...
Thank you so much. Wasn't that a fascinating session? Can we please have a round of applause? Thank you so much. May I now call upon Ms. Meena Nagaraj, Director, Electronics, IT and Biotechnology, Government of Karnataka, to please felicitate the speakers on the stage.
I wish we could have continued.